My name is Amy Torres, and I am founder and executive director of Paul's Place Support for Families. You are listening to our new podcast entitled Embracing Adversity. Our mission at Paul's Place Support for Families is to provide temporary housing for adult patients and their caregivers when they travel to Fort Wayne for any type of medical treatment. Paul's Place was born out of adversity. I started this nonprofit based on my experience with my father, Paul, when he was diagnosed and treated for lymphoma in Houston, Texas. He had called me from Houston to tell me he was sick and in the hospital and that the doctors wanted me to come up for the weekend. When I arrived, they told me he had been diagnosed with lymphoma and they were just giving him medication to keep him comfortable. Little did I realize that they did not expect him to make it through the weekend. He did make it through the weekend, lasted 2 more weeks, and gained enough strength to go through chemotherapy. At this time, I knew I needed to find some sort of housing, as I was just couch surfing with a friend who was a medical student there. The ICU nurses were able to locate a church that provided temporary housing for families in our situation. Now, I had a home-like environment where I was able to rest, recharge, and release any emotion that I felt while taking care of my father, and be strong for him when I was with him during the days. After a while, he gained enough strength where he was released from the hospital in between chemotherapy treatments. Now he also had a home-like environment where we could cook meals together, watch TV, and have long, deep conversations. After 6 months in our temporary home, the oncologist said she could no longer see lymphoma on his scans. However, she did want to do one more treatment just to be sure. By this time, I had already been working and was about ready to move into my own apartment. Unfortunately, right before his last treatment, my father passed away of a major heart attack. The chemotherapy proved way too difficult for his heart. I flew back to Indiana and buried my father. After 2 years of emotional and financial rebuilding, I started a family. Then in 2015, I had an idea of how I was going to pay forward the generosity my father and I received while he was undergoing chemotherapy treatment in Houston, Texas. Knowing the geographic makeup of the Midwest, there were smaller communities outside of Fort Wayne where individuals would come for shopping, entertainment, restaurants, education, and even work. It only made sense that they would also be coming for the medical treatment to either of the 2 larger hospitals in our region, as well as the VA Medical Center. So I talked with the other 2 executive directors of hospitality houses here in Fort Wayne and told them my idea. They loved it. They said they would help me in any way they could. Since they were focusing on pediatrics, I was able to focus on the adults and their caregivers. So we started in 2015. We received our 501c3 designation in 2016, and in 2017 we started housing families. From March of 2017 to the first quarter of 2021, we have housed and provided over 3,100 nights of comfort for our families. It's been a whirlwind of a year this last year of 2020, and we have survived COVID and the financial breakdown that happened with COVID. So what I want to do is to share my story and the stories of our families, donors, board members, and other supporters of Paul's Place about their stories of adversity, what they did to overcome it, and how they are surviving. Hopefully, you will be able to be inspired by their stories and get through your own adversity. We know that 2020 was a devastating year for many, and we hope that our stories will be able to inspire you to pay it forward to someone else as well.